Hey, today I'm going to do a full in-depth review of my ATX MPHR 780 rack. Hey, this is Greg with Discovering Strength, a channel focused on all things garage gym. If you like what you see, consider subscribing below. So I've now had my ATX MPHR 780 for about 3 months. And if you've been following my channel, I've done a number of videos on it so far. You can check out some of those at the link above. I've done videos on each of the different components within the rack, the Smith machine, cable system, the pull-up bar, etc. But after doing all of those, I wanted to circle back and do just one comprehensive review of what I like and dislike about it. The number one thing I love is just how versatile this is. So, I mean, between using the rack on the outside, so it's really intended to be like a half rack. You can do all your barbell work on the outside. It's got the integrated Smith machine, which is fantastic, and the cable system. See, it's got the integrated weight stack with these articulating arms, which are a huge selling point. You've got the pull points up at the top, and then you've also got pull points here at the bottom for low rows. That combination of features means you can do virtually anything you can think of. So then I really love just the quality that is built into this. You see it in a lot of the small details, like you can see all the hardware is blacked out hardware, which is typically not standard. There are a lot of pieces here where they, have knurling on these little handles, and you've got metal pieces instead of plastic pieces. For example, you've got just this little faceplate portion, which you could totally do that in plastic, but it is metal, stainless steel. You've got pop pins like this that are also stainless steel. You've got the nice knurling on the handle here. For the cable system, you have upgraded aluminum pulleys throughout. These front uprights are stainless steel, and they are super nice with the laser cut numbering. These articulating arms are also just super heavy duty built. Really, they haven't sacrificed anything in building this. Now, it's another small detail, but I really appreciate that they went the extra mile and put rubber footings on the uprights. So you do have the option, you could bolt it into the floor, but you don't need to. And it's nice to just have the rubber footings. That's not a standard thing that most companies would include. So I also think that this is very competitively priced. So right now it's not yet for sale in the US. If you go to their website, you'll see that they're planning to sell this for $5,000. I know that their imminent launch in the US has been delayed a few times because of tariffs, and that is also affecting the overall price point. Over in Europe, in Germany where I live, this sells for just under 4,000 euros. So today's exchange rate, that comes out to be about $4,600. But right now the dollar is weak compared to the euro. Just a year ago, that probably would have been more like $4,200, maybe $4,300. Now, when I compare this to other competitors, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Force USA. And I think that this falls in between the C10 and the newly released C20. The C10 they sell for $4,500, and the C20 is about $6,500. Now, another one that others have thrown out as a point of comparison would be the Rep Aries. And I do think that one's a little bit different, but if you build this and kind of include the same stuff that comes with this one, you're looking at just under $6,000 for the Rep Aries, kind of fully built out to similar specs. Now, I love the articulating arms here on the rack. I think this is really the most standout feature of the rack. Now I'll just demonstrate a little bit with these, but it's got 5 different positions you can put this at. Go all the way out like that so that you can get more of functional trainer cable crossover type spacing. At the widest point, it's about 6 feet apart. And then you can move them back to the middle, just like so. And then that gets you about 2 feet apart on the inside. Then you can also see here that these swivel. So really, you can get this into any position you want, and it's really outstanding. Over the last year or two, it seems like a lot of companies are also going this same route of building their own articulating arm system. And that just demonstrates just how popular and how unique this has been. The rack itself doesn't come with a lot of add-ons, but it does come with the J-cups. Now throwing one of them on there, you can see how that looks. Nice laser cut logo there, but I really like how they have put this rubber piece on here. Most standard J-cups just have a little bit of plastic on there on the backside and the underside to protect your barbell, but they've really just taken this a step further with this. Now I've also got the spotter arms. Those come standard and no complaint there. They're built really to the same quality standard. Then it also comes with this leg holder pad that you can throw on the front of the rack. This is how it looks once you put it on there. I love it. I think it works really well. It's nice to be able to hold your legs down as you do lat pull downs. It's very easy to throw on there. It also has nice upholstery. That's also another thing that a lot of companies will go a little cheap on, is the upholstery. First thing, one of my pieces of criticism is the depth of the Smith machine. Absolutely love the Smith machine, but the depth of it, you can see there, basically goes just right below my knees. So really, if I wanted to use this for deadlifts, something like that, I would need to use a little platform or something to get higher. And likewise, if you're going to do hip thrusts, which is another selling point, I think, for using a Smith machine, is that it doesn't go quite low enough. So to be able to do it, you have to prop yourself up a little bit higher off the ground. Now, another similar criticism would be the depth of the articulating arms. You can see there, that is the highest or the lowest they go. That's slightly higher than that height of the Smith machine. Now, also because the articulating arms are so heavy duty and built so well, it means they're also heavy. So it's not an issue when you lower them, but when you want to raise them up, you really have to prop underneath it and then lift up. Otherwise, you try to do it with one hand, you just can't do it. So you got to do 2 hands to get it up to the top. So if they built in some type of counterbalance or something like that, it would probably make it easier to lift those up. So as much as I love the cable machine and the versatility that brings, one thing I've noticed with this, and I think that this is probably inherent in every cable machine like this, is that especially as these items right here, as they swivel, or as you use this on the many different pull points and move around, it introduces twisting into the cables. And then you see in this kind of floating pulley portion. It's already twisting a little bit on me, but it can twist all the way and cause problems. So it's really not a showstopper. It just means that periodically you need to release the twisting within the cables. For the most part, I do like the pull-up bars up here, but you can see that to accommodate those pull points at the top, you have this pretty significant gap in the middle. So it means that you can do pull-ups, no problem, but when it comes to doing chins, you really can't do them from there. I think it would be a nice improvement if they could build a pull-up bar that extended out, you know, maybe another 6 inches or so to allow for the bar to go all the way across. Another criticism I have is that the starting weight on the cable machine is 11 pounds or 5 kilograms. And honestly, for some smaller movements, that's a little heavy. And I think that that would be more of a consideration, especially for females. So I think doing these small movements like pull aparts or doing lateral raises, those can be a little heavy for some. Now I absolutely love the Smith machine, but you can see there that the weight of the bar itself is 22 kilos or 48 pounds. So that is actually kind of a heavy starting weight for a number of things, especially also for female users, depending on how much they're trying to lift. So I think it would be better if the bar were more like 25, 30 pounds to accommodate more users. Probably one of the biggest cons for the US market is that these front uprights are not 3x3. The sizing here, maybe for European companies, is a little different. So this ends up being about 2.75 by 2.75 inches, which is 70 millimeters by 70 millimeters. So that brings me to the next con at the moment is ATX doesn't seem to have a huge ecosystem of attachments for this. So if they did go 3x3 tubing with the same hole diameters as kind of the standard in the US, 1-inch holes, then you could buy from all kinds of companies for different attachments, and really the sky's the limit. So my overall recommendation is this is an absolutely amazing all-in-one system. I would absolutely recommend it to folks. I love it, but just keep in mind that it's not perfect. I'd love to see those small details that I mentioned improved for the next iteration, and then really it would be outstanding. I really do think that this is a great price for the system, and if tariffs were to go away, maybe that price would come down a little bit more so that it would be closer to maybe the $4,500 price range, making about the same as the C10. So that does it for my in-depth review of the ATX MPHR 780. Let me know in the comments below if you got any questions, and we'll see you next time.